Actor Larry Manetti, who is most famous for his co-starring role as Hawaiian beachfront club manager Orville Rick Wright in Magnum P.I. with Tom Selleck, has written a page-turner of a book recounting his incredible experience on the hit television series. In Aloha Magnum, the first ever book written about Magnum P.I., Larry Manetti literally tells all. Larry Manetti reveals what really went on behind the scenes during Magnum P.I.'s successful 8-year run, including his friendship with sex symbol Tom Selleck and co-stars Roger E. Mosley and John Hillerman. Larry recounts his sometimes rowdy but always amusing encounters with Hollywood's elite, including how he worked with Frank Sinatra, how he annoyed Elvis Presley, and how he helped launch Michelle Pfeiffer's career. Now, to purchase your copy of Aloha Magnum, simply visit LarryManetti.com or click the LarryManetti.com logo right here on the front page of RadioIrish.com. And we're absolutely thrilled to be talking to the great Larry Manetti here on Radio Irish. How are you, Larry?
Oh, I'm fine, thank you. I love your accent.
Well, sure, we love your accent too, Larry. You're Italian, I believe, originally from Chicago.
Yes, that's correct.
Now, you headed out to Los Angeles in 1972, Larry, where you landed on your feet as a contract player for Universal Studios, I believe. Talk to me a bit about your early days in acting, Larry. Was it difficult in those days to, draw attention to yourself as an actor?
Well, it was totally different. It was night and day compared to today. The studios are owned by these big conglomerates with bean counters at the head. And when I was around and went under contract, they were independently owned, like Jack Warner owned Warner's and Samuel Goldwyn owned Goldwyn Studios. And Universal Studios was owned by Lou Wasserman, who was just a sweet man, but used to patrol the studio to make sure all his contract players behaved. And I really didn't do anything to, I shouldn't say that. I kind of did. After I went under contract to Universal, I wound up on a show called Baba Black Sheep, and there were nine of us on the show, so everybody was fighting for first position to get the big fan mail. And I went in and started causing a little bit of static, and they gave me a kangaroo that literally sat back and kicked the heck out of me.
Kangaroo? Well, you landed the part of a young detective in the NBC series The Chase, Larry, followed by the bigger role of hotshot pilot Bobby Boyle in the Universal series Baba Black Sheep. But it wasn't until 1980 that you scored big when you were cast to play Rick in the crime drama Magnum P.I., created by Don Belisario and Glenn A. Larson. What was all that like, Larry? Suddenly, there you are landing a major role like this.
Well, it was, when I got the role, I didn't realize what I was getting into. I guess that's the phrase. They shipped us off to Hawaii. We were on the island of Oahu, and I was playing tennis and living the good life on the 2-hour pilot that we did, never thinking that I'd ever be back to Honolulu, because I really didn't know if the show would sell or not. And you can't put your hopes too high, because this is a business. You get kicked a lot. So, but I realized that when I saw Selleck's face on the cover of all the magazines, that we were on our way and that the show was bulletproof.
Bulletproof indeed. Now, in Magnum P.I., you played alongside Tom Selleck, John Hillerman and Roger E. Mosley, all of whom you write about in your book Aloha Magnum. What was it like working with these fine actors on Magnum P.I.?
These guys were the nicest people. Let me say this so everybody will understand. The way that this show came about, and I call it a big apple pie, was because of the chemistry with the guys, the Ferrari, the Doberman Pinschers, the helicopter, and the state of Hawaii. and rolled into one. It made a masterpiece. It'll never be done again. I don't think it could ever be duplicated. I know that if they did a movie without us, it's not going to be the same. And all of us see our friends to this day. Actually, I work with Roger E. Mosley this weekend in Anaheim at an autograph show. So, and I talked to Selleck yesterday. He's in New York. So, I mean, it's just one of those things, you know. Once we met, we bonded.
Well, talk to me about the beginnings of your book, Larry. What made you want to write this book initially?
I wrote the book because so many people kept asking me questions, you know. Initially, you know, what was Tom like? What were the guys like? What was the Doberman pictures? Did they bite? You know, and it's not that I never lost interest. It was exciting, and that show really put me on the map. But I thought it would only be nice if I put out a book, and I was not a book fan. I don't like to hang dirty laundry, so I just said, you know, either I have to let it all go in this book or not do it at all, and I let it all go. You know, and when if everybody buys a book, you'll see. I mean, it's a 5-star book. It's very adventurous. I was mischievous, not criminal, and it was just a great time. I even put recipes in the book that I did for Sinatra and Carol Burnett and etc.
Tell me, what was it like playing beachfront club manager Orville Rick Wright?
Well, Orville Wright was a neat character. I feel like, you know, I got him on my shoulder right now. And Elijah Cook, if you remember, he was a great character actor from the 40s that played in several of Bogart's movies. And they wrote in the scripts that he was really my surrogate father. And then I was from an orphanage. It was part of my Bible as an actor. But, you know, being Orville Wright was fun, and a lot of Orville Wright was Larry Manetti.
And the club that Rick was managing, of course, I'll try to pronounce this, the King Kamehameha.
That's close. It was the King Kamehameha Club.
Okay.
And Hawaiian words are very difficult, believe me. I used to have to spit them out on the show, and boy, there were many times that we went to the next take.
Well, what, if anything, Larry, is different about how they made TV series like Magnum P.I. to how they make TV shows today? There seems to be something very mundane about television shows these days, you know? Do you think you worked harder in those days of Magnum P.I.?
Well, I don't know. I just think our the way we were taught and the way we were schooled and we learned, and the writers were different. You know, there were guys that, let's see, like Belisario was a Marine. I mean, it's just today, it's, you know, this is a softer world. I hate to say it. And, you know, the United States of America is a great country, but I think that it lost a little bit of its backbone. And I think went with it was the structure of Hollywood. So, you know, Hollywood's not the same as it was. All it is a memory. And I'm still out there. In fact, I'm doing a movie now that I'm going to produce, and it's going to have the standard that we had years ago. You know, that's why I watch old movies. I mean, I tend to watch Turner Classic Movies all the time.
And it might even have to do with budget, really, because when you look at shows in those days, there was a lot of shooting going on outdoors, whereas these days everything seems to be stuck in a studio somewhere for TV shows. Would you not agree?
Yeah, well, Magnum had a very good budget. We were well taken care of, and the reason we were outdoors is because we had to show Hawaii. It would be stupid to be on a beautiful island and shoot inside where you could be in Detroit, Michigan, for that fact. You know, so yeah, you know, it's it's a mold that broke. It'll never be seen or happen again. But luckily, Magnum PI still has the feet, you know, the legs, that it shows that it stands up to time. You can't really say the show has aged because it holds up to this day.
Live from New York City, RadioIrish.com.